I'm from Bonny in Rivers State. Bonny is an island in Rivers State. Bonny has lots of companies in it. Bonny has Shell, Bonny has NLNG. What we were told when we were growing up is when you have maybe gas flare in your community, it's a sign that you have oil, there is wealth in your community.
In those days, we drink rainwater. If rain wants to fall, we put our basin. We'll collect rainwater, we drink. That is the coolest, the sweetest, the cleanest. But now, you cannot.
When these companies come in, there are also social issues. The socio-economic life of the people change, and especially when it has to do with all these oil exploration activities. We also have the environment being affected. I know they do a lot of environmental impact assessments before they start most of these big projects, but I doubt if they do social impact assessments, because we need to understand how these issues, how these activities can affect the lives, the socio-economic lives of the people. So there's this general notion that if there's an oil company in this community, that means the people are wealthy, everybody has access to money, but it is not the case. It's really not the case.
In those days, we walk, just as we are walking now, to that ship. You can't go close to it, you can't near it. Then imagine from that place down. From that place down, you will see how the land on the pit, they wash it, they go.
Before the companies came in, at least in my own community, we were depending on the water, the environment. People were primarily fishermen. Young women, or the women, were also fisherwomen. They survived on selling shelled fish, periwinkles, crabs, and all this around the communities. And they could raise their kids, pay school fees and all that. But when the companies came in, some of the area, the water banks were taken off by these companies. Activities in the sea, big trolleys, big ships passing, gas flares, oil spills. The aquatic life started depleting. I don't think we have things like periwinkle, which is very, very, it's part of what we eat every day in Rivers State. You cook soup with periwinkle, we don't have those. They are getting rare, they're getting scarce. We don't have other shellfish around. So it affected the economic life of the rural women. And now they get poorer because their livelihood has been affected. They can't really provide for their children. Education is not very cheap. So you are raising children that are not educated enough to get these jobs. The environment is not providing for you to cater for yourself and your children. It now shows that even with these companies being present in these communities, poverty is still increasing because these community people, some of them, can't access the jobs. Let's not even talk about the political play with employment that we see in most of these Rivers communities, where the youth who are actually educated don't get the jobs. I'm talking of those who don't even have access to these issues, to these jobs. So we have environmental issues affecting people, affecting our livelihoods, affecting our social lives. Somebody once linked the Niger Delta crisis and violence to the scarce resources that is causing people to compete more for resources and making us violent. So those issues are there, and it affects our social lives. It affects the way we interact with our environment. It affects the way the girl child grows in this community. It affects the way the male child grows in this community. We see young girls trying to survive because their primary livelihood has been taken away. They get dependent on men to be able to get on in life, to be able to feed, to be able to get the usual things that you get. Some of them even depend on men to be able to pay school fees and all.